My name is Cui Reckless. When I was 5 years old, my dad personally hung a purse around my neck with the words, "Act recklessly." He told me to always protect this thing. It is as precious as my life. I was still young at that time. I only knew that there was a strange patterned yellow paper in my purse and couldn't understand why it was related to my life. Later, as many strange things happened around me, I slowly understood what this little purse meant to me. This story dates back to many years ago in northeast China, where my grandparents lived. My hometown is called Longjiang, a small county in Qiqihar City, as the saying goes. Cold as a bite in December night. That year, my grandfather was 28 years old. When he went out, he had to carry a small stick to knock while urinating, or else it would freeze. The weather in northeast China is like this. It can freeze people to death. At that time, on the 8th day of the 12th lunar month, they ate something called yellow rice, sticky and mushy, hard to distinguish the grains. Today happens to be the 8th day. My grandmother took out the yellow rice. She had been saving for half a year to prepare yellow rice. While the rice was cooking, my grandmother fell asleep in a daze. At that time, she dreamt about something similar to a yellow weasel swaying in front of her. No matter how hard she tried to drive it away, it wouldn't leave. Just as she was about to throw a stone at it, she was suddenly awakened by a knock on the door. The neighbor said they had caught a man who dug wall holes, and asked my grandmother to go out and take a look. The so-called man who dug wall holes is actually a thief. At that time, the yard was surrounded by mud walls. If the thief climbed over the wall, there was a risk of the wall collapsing. So the thieves came up with the trick of digging through the dog hole. My grandmother saw many people gathering around the wall hole as soon as she went out. The thief is not from our village, and nobody knows him. He has a sharp face, looks like he is around 40 years old, and has a beard that resembles a mouse. He is wearing a tattered cotton-padded jacket. At this moment, my grandfather had just returned. He looked at the burglar on the ground, sighed softly, and said, "It's not easy to live in this world, but there is always a way for everyone. Rats have rat ways. Now that you have fallen into our hands, you have to accept it. There is no way out. Reality is harsh. Especially during that time when human life was cheap. If the people in the village let this burglar go easily, there would be no peaceful days ahead. If he is not killed, he will definitely continue to cause trouble in this area." Then my grandfather asked my grandmother to prepare a bowl of yellow rice and a bowl of cold water. Not long after, the bowl of yellow rice was brought over. The aroma made the burglar instantly feel revitalized. Without saying a word, his two small eyes couldn't help but blink. My grandfather said, "It's not that we are not giving you a way out. It's just that we can't survive either." After saying that, he soaked the yellow rice in cold water. Then he fed the burglar and said, "It's not easy. Finish your meal and hit the road. In the next life, be born into a good family. That's it." My grandfather kept feeding the burglar, who had fallen into cold water, with yellow rice. The burglar, also feeling famished, swallowed it bite by bite, eating, while smiling silly at my grandfather. He had no idea that disaster was looming over him. This yellow rice was his last supper. What's going on with this wet yellow rice? In my grandfather's generation, there simply wasn't much food to eat. Just one day, a burglar suddenly broke into the house. My grandfather and some villagers tied up the burglar. Then he asked my grandmother to prepare a bowl of steaming hot yellow corn rice for the burglar as his last meal. When the yellow corn rice just came out of the pot, the temperature was extremely high, and it was very sticky. It clumped together in chunks when picked up. The difference in temperature between the surface soaked in cold water and the inner layer was significant. It felt warm when eaten, but swallowing it down would scald the stomach to half-cooked. After the burglar finished a bowl of yellow corn rice, the women in the yard all went back inside because they didn't want to witness the dreadful scene below. My grandmother plugged her ears after entering the house. Just as she sat on the heated brick bed, she could hear the wails from outside, haunting her ears. Not long after, that burglar died with his mouth wide open. He was just like a kettle. The water vapor passes through the stomach, then through the esophagus, and finally sprays out of the mouth. About an hour later, my grandfather returned. He looked at my grandmother and seemed helpless. Then he said, "Look at you, all scared by just a stinky drifter. What a sorry sight." My grandmother then said, "No matter what, you shouldn't have scared him to death. It's a life, after all." My grandfather believed that this drifter is probably sent down by the robbers in the mountains to spy on us. Since none of us have ever seen him before, and suddenly a stranger appears, if he's not a robber, then what is he? If we don't scare him away, and he goes back to the mountains and tells the robbers that we have yellow rice to eat here, if they come down to rob us, how are we going to survive this year? As soon as my grandmother heard this, she got scared out of the blue. These robbers are the bandits in the mountains, the notorious robbers in northeast China before the liberation. They were like local overlords, usually only robbing landlords or wealthy families. But in those days, when they were desperate with hunger, the robbers wouldn't care whether you had money or not. They would barge into a household as long as there were people, searching for rice if they saw rice, and seizing livestock if they saw livestock. The local people dared to be angry but not speak up. Before descending from the mountain each time, these robbers would send scouts down to gather information, and then a group would come down to rob. These guys would kill people like it was a game. After killing someone, they would throw the body into the mountains to feed the wolves. The family couldn't even find a complete corpse. My grandmother worriedly asked my grandfather, "What should we do if the robbers find out the scout is dead?" My grandfather told my grandmother not to worry. Just now, Old Man Jai and Dumbass have already thrown that burglar into the ravine. Tomorrow morning, they will definitely be cleaned out by the wolves. Even if the robbers see it, they will think that this scout was eaten by wolves before coming down the mountain. Seeing my grandfather so calm, my grandmother's heart also felt much more at ease. But she was still afraid, until around 10 o'clock at night, when she drowsily fell asleep, in the later part of the night. My grandmother faintly heard faint crying sounds, babbling as if singing opera. Afterward, she put on her clothes and prepared to go out to have a look. Suddenly, a hand was placed on her shoulder. Scared, my grandma didn't dare to move at all. She lowered her head to look. I saw an old lady dressed in mourning kneeling on the ground, murmuring, "My grandchild is so unfortunate." The person suddenly lifted their head. I saw a deathly pale face. Wrinkles creased all over their face. Whether from crying or smiling, it was hard to tell. A piercing scream pierced through the entire room. My grandmother hurriedly shook my grandfather awake. She said there was an old lady with a white face crying. My grandfather said, "You're talking nonsense. Are you half asleep? Take a good look. Who is mourning?" At this moment, the eerie crying sound resurfaced. My grandfather and grandmother were stunned for a moment. Then the two of them looked at each other without saying a word. Later, my grandfather gathered his courage and looked towards the window. At that moment, he was so terrified that his soul nearly left his body. In the dark courtyard, my grandfather saw over 20 people dressed in mourning clothes. Each of them was wearing mourning clothes and white mourning hats, crying with wailing sounds coming out of their mouths. After crying a few times, they would kowtow in the direction of the back hill, then continue crying. In the middle of the night, suddenly encountering such a group of people was truly terrifying to the extreme. Seeing them, both my grandfather and grandmother were quite scared. Fortunately, my grandfather quickly regained his composure, blocked all the windows, and lit the candles saved for Chinese New Year. The light made everyone feel safer. My grandmother was scared to tears long ago, curled up at the edge of the heated brick bed, and kept asking my grandfather what to do. My grandfather said, "We will discuss it when it's daylight. Tomorrow morning, let's make a trip to Ninzi Mountain." Last night, suddenly there were over 20 people wearing mourning clothes mourning while kneeling towards the back hill in the yard. This scene scared my grandparents terribly. The night passed like this. Grandpa and Grandma also understood that something big happened. Early the next morning, the two of them took some sorghum rice and a jar of homemade white wine from home and went to Ninzi Mountain. They went to find a person named Lu Shuqing, whom others called Mr. Lu. His family runs a coffin shop, dealing with the business of the deceased. He is also good at divination, specializing in helping poor families in the vicinity choose auspicious burial sites. Families celebrating weddings or funerals in red and white will seek his advice on auspicious dates. At the same time, he is also well versed in exorcism and ghost subduing techniques. Even robbers fear him to some extent. However, he has a flaw, a bad temper. When he encounters someone he doesn't like, he refuses to help no matter what. He also has a fondness for alcohol. He can't be happy without wine. Even in broad daylight, he never lets go of his gourd of wine. There was once when someone saw him drinking alone, muttering to himself with two large bowls in front of him. It wasn't until later that people realized he could communicate with spirits after drinking. So, he gained another nickname, called Drunken Lu. And my grandpa went to Ninzi Mountain this time to invite this Mr. Lu. They have known each other for a long time because they both love drinking. They have a close relationship and often visit each other during festivals. They are considered as good buddies. But to his surprise, when my grandpa arrived at Mr. Lu's home, he found that Mr. Lu was already heavily drunk and unconscious. My grandpa was also worried when he saw the scene. He said, "Oh no, how can this be? This situation is really strange. What if Big Brother doesn't wake up?" Before my grandpa could finish speaking, Lu's wife immediately helped Mr. Lu up and said, "Since we rushed here, let's take Mr. Lu to Zhu's slope." My grandpa tried to dissuade them in every possible way, saying that in this freezing cold weather, people could get frostbite. But Lu's wife insisted, saying that he wouldn't freeze to death. My grandpa immediately understood that there was no such thing as not being able to freeze to death. It's just that she couldn't bear to see my grandparents in an accident. Thinking about this, my grandpa suddenly knelt down with a thud. He didn't know what to say to express his gratitude. After tidying up properly, Lu's wife put a large box into the car and said not to move it around. Later, my grandfather found out why. The bag of rice and a jar of wine were stored in the box. Knowing that Lu's family was not well off at the time, Lu's wife put them back. My grandfather remembered this act of kindness for his entire life and used it to educate me. He said that people should be as kind-hearted as Mr. Lu and his wife. Meanwhile, my grandmother was anxiously waiting for my grandfather to return home. As it was getting dark, she dared not go out because she had heard from the elderly that encountering unclean things when it's dark outside. As she waited, she sat on the Kong and gradually fell asleep in a daze. In her dream, she dreamed of the old lady dressed in mourning clothes again, saying that she was not afraid even if her grandfather went to seek help. The revenge of her grandson must be avenged, and my grandmother woke up startled. I only heard my grandfather's voice from outside, calling my grandmother to come out and help. After the two of them settled Mr. Lu on the Kong, my grandmother told my grandfather that she had dreamt about that old lady again. She said that old lady's grandson couldn't be the drifter, right? My grandfather told my grandmother not to panic. Wait until Mr. Lu wakes up, then we can discuss everything. At night, the mournful cry was heard again. But this time, the sound was so piercing. At this moment, Mr. Lu's voice came, "What are you making noise about? Can't you see I'm trying to sleep?" Then he uttered a heavy and forceful, "Get lost." The voice abruptly stopped. Then he took out a Fu card from his pocket and handed it to my grandfather. He asked my grandfather to stick it on the window at the north side. After sticking the Fu card, indeed nothing happened that night. The next day, just as the day broke, Mr. Lu got up and saw my grandparents. Mr. Lu also had a big smile on his face. He then brought up the matter of not waking up yesterday. The reason was that a few days ago, when he was helping someone choose a burial site, he had a bit to drink. Seeing that it was late, he started heading home. On the way, he met an acquaintance, Old Wang, but Old Wang had already passed away 2 years ago. Mr. Lu then approached to inquire why he was still in the living realm. It turns out that before his passing, Old Wang had done many good deeds. After his death, he became a ghost messenger in the underworld. Today, someone in the village is having a funeral, so he took advantage of a break during the judgment of souls by black and white impermanence to ask Horseface for permission to come back to see his son and grandson, following the rules. Those who eat the food of the underworld are bound to reveal heavenly secrets, and will definitely incur the 5 afflictions and 3 lacks. The so-called 5 afflictions are widower, widow, orphan, childless elder, and the disabled. The 3 lacks refer to money, life, and power. Mr. Lu has indeed incurred the lack of life, destined to have a short life. Only those who have mastered the Qigong arts and divination within the Taoist monk canon of the 3 purities can understand the heavenly mandate through certain formations. Mr. Lu has only learned the family-transmitted 3 purities art of divination, and some talismans and incantation arts acquired by chance. Originally, he was unlikely to encounter a ghost messenger. However, this time he met an acquaintance and was tempted to use the underworld envoy to learn about his lifespan. And so, one man and one ghost started drinking the ghostly wine. When a person drinks too much of it, they become unable to move and can only lie there. Last night, he also exerted all his strength to dig out that lucky charm. Later, my grandfather learned that Mr. Lu only has a remaining lifespan of 2 years. He was shocked and said that no matter what, he couldn't let his elder brother's life be shortened. Mr. Lu chuckled and said, "There is a predestined fate in the dark. If one does not take care of one's own brother, even if he lives a few more years, it would be in vain." Later, he told my grandfather that after having a full meal and being satisfied with wine, he would ask my grandfather to take him to see the body of the drifter. It's strange to say that usually, a body abandoned in the mountains would be completely scavenged by wild wolves in less than a night, but this body in the mountains showed no signs of being touched for a whole day and night. Mr. Lu cut open the body of this person with a knife. My grandfather immediately froze in place. This yellow weasel. How could a yellow weasel end up in the stomach? I only heard Mr. Lu say this is a big problem. Afterward, my grandfather and Mr. Lu took the yellow weasel back. They lit a fire with pine branches and burned it. As for the body, Mr. Lu found a place for my grandfather to personally handle it, which can be considered as accumulating virtue. After these things were done, it was already noon. The two of them didn't speak all the way until it was time for lunch. After Mr. Lu took a sip of wine, he sighed and said, "This yellow weasel causing harm to people will bring catastrophe for 3 generations." My grandparents were terrified when they heard about the catastrophe for 3 generations, Mr. Lu said. The yellow weasel is inherently cruel and never lets go of small animals. Even if it can't finish eating them, it will bite them to death. Besides, it has a strong vengeful heart. Once it targets you, you definitely won't be able to escape. The so-called suffering for 3 generations means that if revenge cannot be taken in this generation, it will harm the son if there is a son, and the grandson if there is a grandson. Due to the large number of yellow weasels in the back mountains, unless the blood debt is repaid or the 4th generation appears. The enmity between these 3 generations will only end when there is only one way to ensure the safety of the whole family. Trying to end this feud in this generation is not feasible. It can only be done in the generation of the grandson. Later, Grandpa and Mr. Lu went to the back hill to negotiate with the yellow weasel. After that, Mr. Lu left a talisman for Grandpa and instructed him not to get it wet. He asked Grandpa to wear it on the youngest person in the family to ensure the safety of the family. He emphasized several times that except for deep cleaning, the talisman must not leave the body. Wear it continuously until the youngest person in the family reaches the age of 20 to settle this grudge. The yellow weasel worshipped by our family then becomes the protector of the household. After I was born, the pouch containing the talisman was passed down to me, and my story begins from here. After I grew up, I was very bad at studying. I just knew how to doodle and scribble in my textbooks all day. Seeing me like this, my old man simply let me enroll in an art class at a vocational high school. People who have studied art know that sketching from life is actually like going sightseeing and having fun outdoors. As expected, this time our sketching activity turned into an outdoor barbecue and camping trip, with girls cooking and boys catching fish. Everyone was busy, roasting frogs and drinking beer, starting today's happy life. An hour later, a strong desire to urinate struck me, so I went to the riverside to relieve myself. At this moment, something caught my eye in the corner of my vision. I saw a super large catfish. I thought to myself, if I caught it and brought it back, everyone would be amazed. I am about to go into the water to catch fish. Suddenly, the strange force of the river water pulled me in. What surprised me was that the river water was actually so deep. Isn't this supposed to be a shallow pool? Why is it so deep? I want to cry out for help. But the river water keeps rushing into my mouth. Through the light, I saw a figure of a person. That was an old lady with a pale face. There is a folklore among the people called, "The water ghost seeks its substitute." The water ghost will transform into a large fish trapped in shallow water, targeting passerby with weak yang energy. Or maybe he happened to offend the Tai Sui deity this year, and as a result, he is deceived by such illusions and goes into the water to catch fish. The shallow-looking water is actually bottomless. My name is Cui Reckless. I am a professional high school art student. All art students know that sketching from life is actually just enjoying nature, grilling frogs, and having a beer. Before long, I felt the urge to pee. So I came to the riverside to relieve myself, and it was at that moment that I saw a huge blue fish. I thought if I could bring this big blue fish back, then my reputation for catching turtles would spread around the school. That little girl would be clamoring to get close to me. But who could have imagined that the shallow pool at my waist suddenly became bottomless? A strange force pulled me down. Then I lost consciousness, not knowing how long it passed. I woke up. I sat up abruptly, searching for oxygen. I just fell into the water a moment ago. My clothes are still wet. Did I travel through time? It was only then that I realized I was standing on a street. Pedestrians were all walking in one direction with their heads down. I asked an old man where this place was. The old man turned around, and I was so startled. It almost stopped my heart. Damn! At this moment, I looked at the clothes of others and realized that they were all wearing the same style. It suddenly dawned on me that these must be funeral clothes. No way. Are these people all ghosts? Does that mean I am already dead? No. It can't be. I'd rather believe that I have traveled through time than accept that I'm dead. Fear aside, continuing to stay here is not a solution. I watched as these people all headed west, so I had no choice but to follow them in that direction. About half an hour later, I saw a building that looked like a hotel. I arrived at the front door and found a large sign saying, "Half step is more." Suddenly, a fortune-telling stall at the entrance caught my attention. Because the stall owner was clearly different from these people, wearing a blue jacket and taking a nap. Later, I knocked on the table to wake up the uncle. He stretched lazily and asked if I was talking to him. I thought to myself that this old man was a bit odd. Then I said to him, "I am standing in front of you. Can I talk to ghosts?" The uncle stood up immediately, looking me up and down with sharp eyes. He circled around me a few times, expressing amazement with clucking sounds. The uncle's strange actions truly startled me. I was so scared that goosebumps covered my whole body. Then the uncle asked me, "Do you know where this is to dare to wander around here?" Of course I don't know where this is, but I still put on a flattering face and said to the uncle, "I don't know, can you tell me?" The uncle seemed pleased when he heard the word, "You?" Then he pointed to the words, "Half step is more," and said, "This is Ghost Market. Half step is more, and you should be dead by now." Upon hearing this, I thought to myself that this old man must be really sick. How could he say I'm already dead when I'm standing alive and well in front of him? After seeing me putting on a brave front, the uncle told me that this place is completely different from the living realm. Only dead people come here. He asked me to feel my heartbeat. What's going on? My name is Cui Reckless. When I was by the river, I was pulled into the river by a strange force. And the man in front of me told me, I am already dead now. After he saw me pretending to be strong, the man told me that this place is completely different from the living realm, only dead people come here. Then he asked me to touch my heart to see if it beat long 3 times and short 2 times. After hearing him say that, I quickly placed my hand on my chest. At first, I thought my heart wasn't beating and was about to speak when my heart suddenly started beating. Damn. Really a close call. Did I really die? At this point, the uncle told me not to be afraid. It's true that there are all dead people here, but not all of them are evil spirits. Hearing this sentence, I quickly asked the uncle if there was still hope for me. The uncle smiled and told me not to worry, to sit down and talk slowly. He told me not to call him uncle anymore and call him ninth uncle. Later, ninth uncle began to talk about the situation in this place. In this world, there are 3 realms: gods, ghosts, and humans. There are many connections between them. The connection between the underworld and the celestial realm is called 3 Paths Village, and the link between the celestial realm and the living realm is called the Immortal Island. The ghost market we are in connects the living realm and the underworld. After a person dies, their soul is first taken to the ghost market by the ghost messenger. At this point, the soul has not completely transformed into a ghost. After arriving at the half step is more in, all souls will go in to receive their own ghost heart. Only after receiving the ghost heart, they truly become ghosts. After becoming ghosts, the next train called 1 step is less will go to the underworld for judgment. Those who did not receive a ghost heart or missed the train will be doomed to wander forever. Upon hearing this, I was overwhelmed with confusion. It's like something out of a fantasy novel. I thought about how my parents raised me with such difficulty, and my grandmother. I'm only 17. How can I repay them by dying like this? Ninth uncle told me not to worry, as I haven't died completely yet, since my heart is still beating. He then hit the paper on the table and said, I see. He asked me to write down my birth date and time, and after I did, I respectfully handed it to ninth uncle. Ninth uncle looked at it, rubbed his thumb between his index and middle fingers. Before long, he told me that he had already figured out the ins and outs of the whole thing. He said I was harmed by evil spirits, and my body is now being treated in the hospital while my 3 souls and 7 spirits have left, with only 1 soul and 5 spirits remaining here. Evil spirits? I thought to myself, could the story that my grandmother told me be true? Was the old lady I saw when I fell into the water Lady Huang III matriarch? Suddenly he remembered the purse, and upon opening it, he found that the talisman he had already been soaked in water, making the characters illegible. Oops. This is something that should be kept confidential. Huh? Ninth uncle also seemed surprised when he saw the talisman paper in my hand. He immediately stood up with a bang, excitedly exclaiming, This! Could it be? Mountain Heaven Chu opens the formation and activates the talisman. This. After Cui Reckless took out the talisman paper soaked in water, ninth uncle stood up excitedly, carefully examining it and asking Cui Reckless where he got it from. I'm not sure why ninth uncle seemed very interested in the talisman in Cui Reckless' purse. Cui Reckless must have not understood what kind of talisman ninth uncle was referring to, so he faithfully recounted his grandparents' story to ninth uncle. Ninth uncle looked at the talisman in his hand that read, Mountain Heaven Chu opens the formation and activates the talisman, and said, I didn't expect that there are still people in this world who can draw this talisman. The predecessor was truly a master, being able to transform the hexagram image from divination into a talisman. It shows that the Taoist arts are nearing the sublimation realm. Then he looked up and said to Cui Reckless, Young brother, Are you willing to apprentice under me? Upon hearing this, Cui Reckless was also stunned. Later, ninth uncle stood up and said, "Although your aptitude is average, the wood energy in your birth chart is strong, indicating that you have a kind heart. Moreover, Cui Reckless coming here with the three pure ones talisman also shows a faithful connection. Ninth uncle mentioned that he has been waiting for so many years." I have no choice either. Cui Reckless saw ninth uncle saying this. He scratched his head and asked, "If I learn from you, can I go back?" Ninth uncle replied affirmatively, "Of course." Cui Reckless thought to himself, "If I can go back, what else is there to say?" Then he immediately kneeled down with a thud. He knelt down towards ninth uncle and knocked his head. "Master is above. Please accept this bow, disciple." Ninth uncle picked up the folding fan and clapped it in his hand. It could be seen that he had not been this happy in a long time. It was not in vain that he had waited so many years. Finally, there was a successor to his craft, bowing in respect to the master. He had completed the ceremony and Cui Reckless officially became ninth uncle's disciple. Ninth uncle also shared his own experiences with Cui Reckless. It turns out that ninth uncle, who was born in Shanghai in 1934, also dined on ghost food during his lifetime. During the War of Resistance, his parents died in the turmoil when he was 7 years old. At a young age, he could only beg on the streets. Later, he was noticed by a wandering Taoist monk named Han Yu, who saw his Taoist bone and took him as his disciple. Han Yu, also known as Taoist monk Xinxin Taoist, passed down authentic Maoshan Taoist arts to ninth uncle. He also passed on the most precious three pure ones robe talisman of their sect to ninth uncle. Ninth uncle did not disappoint Han Yu's expectations and made progress within a short period of 10 years. By the age of 22, he could exorcise demons and ghosts on his own. When ninth uncle turned 25, Han Yu, the Taoist monk, passed away as an immortal. Ninth uncle then inherited his mantle and traveled the world, exorcising demons and ghosts. He remained childless and only took in 2 disciples. However, due to the discord between the 2 disciples and impure motives in Tao cultivation, ninth uncle hesitated to pass on the three pure ones talisman to them. It was not until March of 1975 that he finally decided to pass on the talisman. The master and 2 disciples traveled to the area of Liaoning. The region was experiencing a severe drought. Near Yawula Mountain, they encountered a millennium-old zombie king who had cultivated to the point of being fearless of wind and thunder, becoming a Ba, according to the canon of divine oddities. There are people in the south who are 2 to 3 feet tall, bare-bodied, with 2 eyes on the top of their heads. They move as fast as the wind and are named Ba. In a country suffering from severe drought and 1,000 miles of red earth, the zombie that becomes Ba can kill dragons and swallow clouds, immune to swords and spears. Ninth uncle and his 2 disciples were unable to completely defeat him. In the end, ninth uncle had no choice but to order his disciples to seal off the cave entrance. He used his own blood as a lure and sacrificed the Rain Master Water Relief Talisman from the Three Pure Ones Talisman. Ninth uncle used his own blood as a lure. He used the Rain Master Water Relief Talisman from the Three Pure Ones Talisman. This talisman can change the underground water veins' flow direction, then forming a natural underground reservoir. He pays with his own life as the cost. He finally settled Ba Town in a cave. It was too sudden at that time. Ninth uncle didn't have time to pass down the Three Pure Ones talisman. So ninth uncle set up a small stall in front of this ghost market's half-step is more. He is waiting for the destined person who still has a chance to return to the living. Until today, he met Cui Reckless, the unlucky guy who hasn't died fully. Upon hearing this, Cui Reckless was stunned and confused. He thought that things like the Millennium Corpse King would probably be nothing more than an anti-tank rocket nowadays. Cui Reckless was worried that if he had to handle all this talent on his own, there might not be enough time. Ninth uncle told him to rest assured, as he could memorize things very quickly with his current soul. It would only take 10 days to memorize everything before guiding him into the path. Cui Reckless was startled when he heard 10 days, and then he said, I might be dead in 10 days. Ninth uncle smiled and said, No need to worry. You will be safe and sound within 12 hours. In our world, 12 hours is equivalent to 12 days. 2 days later, which is equivalent to 2 hours in the mortal world, ask them to release a yellow chicken to guide you during the 10th hour. Master will help you with your return to the living. You will achieve something after a long time. 2 days later, during the ox hour in the living realm, Ninth uncle begins to guide Cui Reckless into a dream and reminds him to narrate everything comprehensively. The scene changes, and Cui Reckless enters into his grandmother's dream. After he woke his grandmother up, he urged her to remember what he was about to say next. Tomorrow between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., write my name and birth details on a yellow chicken. Then put a red string on one of the chicken's claws and place it at the nearest intersection to the hospital. When the chicken has run 90 meters, shout my name loudly. Then he quickly told Grandma to pull back the red string, picked up the chicken, and ran into the ward. I will wake up then. Grandma, you must remember this. When I opened my eyes again, he returned to this ghost market. Cui Reckless wiped away the tears at the corner of his eyes and said, Master, I miss home. Ninth uncle patted Cui Reckless on the shoulder and said, You are separated from your loved ones at such a young age. It must be hard for you. Continue to study talisman. You will have plenty of time in the future. 7 days later. Cui Reckless has already recorded all of the 3 Pure One's robe talisman. The next step is to enter the Tao. However, before entering the Tao, Ninth uncle said that he must remind Cui Reckless of something. Those who study the Tao are destined to encounter the 5 afflictions and 3 lacks when they step into the Tao. He asked Cui Reckless if he has truly considered this carefully. Cui Reckless has long been aware of the 5 afflictions and 3 lacks. Although he has been weak since childhood and cannot do anything well, he does not know if he can eliminate demons and evil spirits, punish the strong, and support the weak. But his grandfather and father taught him since childhood to be grateful and seek retribution in the living realm for a moment and in the underworld for a day. Shifu has stayed in this half-step for hundreds of years, even if it is for repaying kindness. Cui Reckless will also pass on this skill. Furthermore, the 5 afflictions and 3 lacks may not necessarily lead to a short life. Cui Reckless firmly said, I've made up my mind. I want to learn. Ninth uncle smiled approvingly and said, I didn't misjudge you. You are a good kid. Then, with a firm gaze, he said, As your master, I will now introduce you to the Tao. Ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe and listen as I continue to explain for everyone. Cui Reckless has been learning talisman with Ninth uncle at Ghost Market these days. The 5 energies in nature are metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. All things evolve from them, and the so-called Taoist arts are about using these energies to achieve things that ordinary people cannot do. In Taoist arts, the most basic method of chi gathering is through talismans. In Ninth uncle's Taoist canon of the 3 purities passed down to Cui Reckless, the most convenient method is to draw talismans. Ninth uncle tells Cui Reckless that the method of drawing talismans is orthodox Maoshan practice, and one must concentrate fully when drawing talismans. Cui Reckless only reluctantly learned how to draw talismans after practicing diligently for 2 days following Ninth uncle's instructions. According to Ninth uncle, he now also considers Cui Reckless a novice, and will need to practice a lot more in the future. During his free time, Cui Reckless also told Ninth uncle about some modern interesting things, such as rockets, satellites, computers, and smartphones. The mobile phone is a machine that can make phone calls and send text messages, allowing people thousands of miles away to communicate in real time. Ninth uncle was also amazed to hear about these things. He didn't expect that technology had developed to this extent. Later, he told Cui Reckless that in the past, there were natural disasters, man-made calamities, and endless wars everywhere. Therefore, we should cherish our current life. Cui Reckless reassured ninth uncle to relax. After all, he had also experienced death once. It's almost time for resurrection in an hour. Ninth uncle wrote down his birth date and time of birth and handed it to Cui Reckless, telling him to check it again on the road to resurrection. He then said that when his skills improve, he can use water from a well to wipe the mirror on the 15th day of each month at midnight to meet ninth uncle in the underworld. This method is similar in function to a phone in the mortal world. When Cui Reckless heard the words, "Underworld," he asked ninth uncle why he wasn't set up a stall in the ghost market. Ninth uncle replied that now that his worries have been resolved, he must go to the place he should go. Cui Reckless wanted to say something more, just at that moment. A barrier suddenly appeared above. A large rooster fell from the sky. Ninth uncle said, "Hurry! This rooster is here to take you home." Cui Reckless fell to his knees with a thud, unwilling to leave as he said, "Disciple is leaving, you must take care of yourself." Ninth uncle said, "Silly child, Shifu has long been dead, you are the one who should take care. Get up quickly. There is something you must remember. On the way back, there will definitely be wandering spirits trying to pull you down. No matter what happens, do not look back. Once you look back, all your previous efforts will be in vain." After saying that, the big rooster carried Cui Reckless and ran out. Before leaving, ninth uncle reminded loudly, "Remember not to look back. Practice diligently. Do not use the tricks of talisman to deceive others for money. And stay pure and dignified." The running away Cui Reckless opened ninth uncle's birth chart and saw written on it, Wei Fengju was born on the 27th day of the 12th month in the year of Rinchen at the Cho hour. Seeing ninth uncle's name Cui Reckless, he also laughed. No wonder he asked me to open Shifu's name again on my way back. It turned out to be so feminine, afraid of losing face. It's really easy to remember. The big rooster suddenly accelerated, and the piece of paper in his hand flew away while on fire. Fortunately, Cui Reckless has already recorded everything, and we are about to reach the entrance to the Yang realm. Suddenly, a voice resembling my grandmother's came to my ears. Cui Reckless knew that this was an illusion created by the ghost. He kept telling himself never to look back. After coming out from the ghost market, Cui Reckless suddenly found himself back at the place he had sketched before, and he saw Yang Su not far away waving to him. Yang Su said he caught a big frog. He is waiting for Cui Reckless to have a drink together. Cui Reckless didn't hesitate either, directly telling Rooster to start the fight, knowing Yang Su's temper. How could he possibly resist good wine for himself? He must be a ghost in disguise, just as a shadow flickered at this moment. He suddenly saw the goddess of the class, Guan Rain. Cui Reckless thought, "Oh no! Is she really smiling at me? Her smile is so sweet. Is she going to take off her clothes? Rooster, don't run so fast. Slow down." Really? She really took it off? She took off her shirt, and then started moving downwards with her hands. My name is Cui Reckless, and I am now on the road of recovery. Shifu told me that on the road of recovery, one cannot look back. Otherwise, wandering spirits will drag me down. But I didn't expect the class goddess to suddenly appear. She actually seduced me. I shouted, "Brother Chicken, slow down." The goddess had removed everything except her bra. I, who can't turn back, feel like my eyeballs are about to twitch. Unfortunately, it's still a little short, just a little short. But reason tells me that I must not look back. Once I look back, all my previous efforts will be wasted. I still want to live. At that moment, a soft sensation suddenly appeared behind me. I am annoyed. I mentally kept repeating, "I must not look." This flirtatious woman was whispering softly in my ear. How audacious. How daring and wicked. I won't watch. Get lost. I'll chase after you when I get back. Then I'll pay a visit to your place. With that, he threw a punch backward. Humph! It's all an illusion. Shifu's admonition to keep myself clean must refer to this. Women only slowed down my resurrection speed. In no time at all, I have arrived at Longjiang County People's Hospital, finally. Brother Chicken carried me straight to my ward. Grandma, Mom and Dad, I'm back. I'm finally going to resurrect. At that moment, Shifu suddenly appeared behind me. Little Reckless, there's something I forgot earlier. I turned around carelessly and asked with a smile. What is it? Oh no! Suddenly I realized something was wrong. Shifu has already left the ghost market for the underworld. How could he possibly appear in the mortal world? I saw Shifu slowly transform into Lady Huang, the third matriarch. She let out a strange cry and rushed towards me. I desperately ran towards my body. No, don't. It's right in front of me now. I'm unwilling to accept it. Help! Mom and Dad, save me! At that moment, Brother Chicken started crowing. The hands that were grabbing me started to vanish. Lady Huang, the third matriarch, also transformed back into the appearance of a yellow weasel. I seized the opportunity to dive into the body. Brother Chicken, I'm sorry. I suddenly woke up. I just feel like my whole body has fallen apart. The feelings of hunger and thirst follow closely. My head also feels swollen. When my father beside me saw that I woke up, he immediately hugged me. This is the first time I've seen my father cry. He held me tight as if afraid of losing me again. After being rescued that day, I was taken to the hospital and remained unconscious for a whole day. The doctor said if I didn't wake up soon, I might have become a vegetable. Unfortunately, Brother Chicken died. I told my father to find a good place to bury him. Brother Chicken saved my life. To remember the great rooster's kindness in saving my life, I will never eat chicken again. Thank you, Brother Chicken. 2 weeks later, I was discharged from the hospital and returned home. My grandmother cooked a sumptuous meal for me. In my heart, I secretly vowed to cherish everything in front of me in the future. I had a dream that night when I went to bed. In the dream, Lady Huang, the third matriarch, said that the grievances had been avenged, and it was not my fate to perish. From now on, Lady Huang, the third matriarch, would be the family guardian spirit of my household. The next morning, I lit incense sticks for the memorial tablet of Lady Huang, the third matriarch, and then went to school. There is something I must do today. Whenever I come back, I always think of the charming scene on Huanin Road. I feel really regretful that I was so close to seeing it. So today, I decided to confess my feelings to Guan Rain. After I found Guan Rain, I'll start with a wall slam, which startled Guan Rain, leaving her at a loss for words. I didn't beat around the bush and straightforwardly said, Guan Rain, I've been noticing you for a long time. I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? She seems hesitant and fumbling. I waved confidently and said, You don't need to hide your feelings. I understand you very well, so rest assured that I will treat our relationship with utmost care, with absolute dedication. Who would have known that a muscular man suddenly appeared behind me and glared at me fiercely? You have a boyfriend, and you didn't say it earlier. Big brother, do you believe me when I say we are rehearsing a play? Misunderstanding. It's really a misunderstanding. We are really rehearsing. Please don't chase me anymore, Guan Rain. In the end, we are destined to be apart. Goodbye, my youth. Goodbye, my love. My name is Cui Reckless. As the saying goes, misfortune may be a blessing in disguise. Although last time Guan Rain's sister heartlessly rejected me. But I met my first love, Du Jade-like, who lives up to her name with beautiful looks. I originally thought there would be some earth-shattering and fantastical plot in my first love, but in the end, I was overthinking. Du Jade-like always has me help carry her backpack every day and goes to the cafeteria for meals. After class, I have to go to the store to buy chocolate to supplement her nutrition. Our interaction is limited to me giving her massages and back rubs. Originally, I thought I could just muddle through like this. At least I have a girlfriend now. Until one summer night, our class teacher, old Zhang, invited me for dinner. Something happened on the way when I was walking her home. Jade remained silent as we walked on the road. I asked her if she wanted to take a taxi. Who knew Jade leaned on the railing and vomited. We sat down on the bench nearby and told her to drink less in the future. Jade slowly leaned towards me in my line of sight. When I lowered my head, I saw a scene that made me blush and feel embarrassed. I thought to myself, really? Is this happening now? Under the influence of alcohol? Is my 18-year-old calf finally going to plow the fields? Suddenly a tear fell onto my pants. Jade started to sob and cry. I hurriedly wanted to wipe the tears off her face, but she refused. She said she didn't want me to see her like this. I felt very confused. Later, Jade said that I am a good person. I received a good person card, inexplicably, but it's not wrong. In this world, only good people get bullied. Thinking about it, Jade opened up and said, when I was a child, I was bullied by boys. Upon hearing this, I was extremely shocked, feeling a mix of emotions in my heart. It turns out that man was a friend of his in junior high school. When the incident happened, she went home and just cried. Her dad asked her what happened, but she didn't dare to say. Later, when her dad saw her disheveled appearance, he understood and went to beat up that man. Then her dad was taken to the police station. After that, Jade transferred to this school. She hates all men. At first, it was because she was so upset that she let me be her boyfriend. But I didn't expect that over this year, I would be so understanding of her. She asked me if it's worth it. I am not sure whether it's worth it. Maybe it's because I have experienced life and death, and I understand what it means to cherish. After hearing her say these words, for some reason, when I see her crying, I feel like crying too. That's all. I took her in my arms spontaneously and stopped thinking about the past. As long as you are alive, everything will pass. Believe me. Jade looked up at me and kissed me. Everything around became quiet. After a long time, we reluctantly parted. Jade said, "It's windy. Let me walk her home." Is this what a first kiss feels like? Since then, Jade has been feeling better and better, but still does not allow touching. I can feel the number of times she smiles at me increasing every day. Perhaps this is what love is. But along with it comes another challenge, the college entrance examination. Because I've experienced death before, my already not so good memory has worsened. Now, not to mention going to university, even going to a junior college is a problem. But cats have their own paths, while mice have theirs. We practitioners naturally have our own alternative paths. At night, I arrived at the rooftop, took out a mirror and mineral water. Shifu, you must show some divine power. After I poured the water on it, I began calling out Shifu's name, Wei Fengjiao, Wei Fengjiao, Wei Fengjiu. I saw the mirror slowly forming an image with a shadow. Shifu. Is that you? Are you there? Master said. It's Cui Reckless. Have you been practicing diligently these days? Master. Finally met Shifu again. Master. My name is Cui Reckless. My memory has been getting worse since I died once last time. The college entrance examination is approaching. I have no choice but to seek help from Shifu Wei Fengjiu. I arrived at the rooftop in the evening. I took out well water and wiped the mirror with it. The image of Shifu gradually became clear. Shifu told me that he arranged